Pseudo classes are keywords added to selectors that specify a special state of the selected element. They allow you to style elements based on user interaction, position within the DOM, that's the document object model, and other dynamic factors. So basically, we use pseudo classes to change the state of an element. So imagine a situation whereby you mouse over an element and then something happens. Maybe if you move your mouse close to an element, you may likely want to change the background color. Or if you click on an element, you may actually want to change the size of that element. So pseudo classes is that concept in CSS that we can use to achieve that. So we have common pseudo classes. We have the over styles when an element is hovered over. All right, and then we have the active, which styles when an element is being clicked. We have focus when an element is focused, like the input field. So when you click into an input field, say you want to enter your first name, right? At that point, the state of that element is focused. So you can actually change the state of that element that's from your CSS code. And then we have the nth-child, which targets elements based on their order. And then we have the first child and we have the last child, okay, which targets first or last child elements. So over, this applies styles when the user hovers over an element with a mouse. So if you're using your mouse just as I'm doing right now. So for instance, I may likely want to change the color. Now the text color of this example here is orange, right? So or you may want to create a functionality whereby if a user mouse over this example, then the text color should change to maybe green or black. So this over is what you can use. And then we have active, which applies. So this changes the color over, right? Changes the color of a link when it is hovered over. Often used for interactive elements like buttons and links. We have active, which applies styles when an element is being clicked or activated. All right, and then useful for giving feedback to users when they click a button or other interactive elements. So when you click, for instance, a button, you may likely want to change the state of that element. So we have focus, styles and elements when it is in focus, such as an input field being selected. So essential for form accessibility, helping users to see which field is currently selected. All right, and then we have some other structural pseudo classes like the nth-child. So if you have this nth-child, you can see this bracket here. We call it parentheses in programming, or you can call it a function. Now inside the bracket we have this n. This n actually it can stand for anything. So you can pass number or you can pass odd or even. So for instance, if you pass 1 here, it means that you are selecting the first child of that element. If you pass 2 here, you are selecting the second child of that element. If you pass odd, we all know odd numbers, right? Like 1, 3, 5, 7. So it's going to select the odd element. And if you pass even, it's going to select the even elements of the selected element. So the nth-child targets elements based on their position in a parent element's list of children. All right, so for instance, we have this li nth child second. So this is targeting the second list item. So in this example, the second li element within a list, we have a yellow background. So this is what this implies basically. So we also have the first and last. So target the first or last elements of a parent. And then we have an example here. So if you have this paragraph here, P first child, font weight bold. This applies both styling to the first paragraph inside a parent element. All right, so other useful pseudo classes, we have the not, which selects elements that do not match the given selector. And then we have checked, which styles checkboxes or radio buttons that are selected. We have disabled, targets form elements that are disabled. So quickly, let's see how we can do this practically. So I have created this document, same document as we used the last session. So we have CSS Studio class selector. Let's see what we can do. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to target this H1. Okay, so I'm going to use the internal style. Remember, you need to get your style tag here in the edge section of the document. So remember this, the CSS syntax. First, you need a selector. So I'm going to use the type selector h1. So what this means is that it will select all the h1 in our HTML document and apply all the style rules we have in the declaration block. So the declaration block is a curly braces. So in this curly braces, what I want to do is to change the background color of, uh, of our h1, maybe green, to green at this point. Save. Let's see. So we head back to the document. Here is our document and then refresh. Good. So it's green right now. Now, what I want to do is I want to use the over pseudo class such that if I hover on this element, I want the background color to change to orange or any color that we want. So to achieve that, I will head back. I will also in my style, okay, I will say h1. Now, if you want to use pseudo class, you use full column, okay, followed by the pseudo class over, right? So if you look at the slide again, look at the slide one more time, you can see how it has been selected. So full column is used first. So it's not like the other selectors. I mean the class ID, like class we use dots, right? We use dots operator to select a class element. We use hash symbol to select an ID element. And then for pseudo class, we use only one, that single full column, as you can see on the slide. So back, so h1 pseudo class over, then I would say background color, background color orange. Save. And then I will head back to the browser. I'm going to refresh. Now, if I hover on it, look at it. So it has changed from green, from green to orange. And if I move the mouse out of the element, it will go back to green because that is the original background that we set on that element. So again, orange, green, orange, green, orange, green. So that's over basically. So we also have the active pseudo class. What I'm going to do right now is I would like to, okay, I will use this H2 here. Welcome to my website. Welcome to my website. Back. And what I will do with this element is, and this element here actually, this H2 here. So I will give this a unique class name, and then I will name this home heading, because if I use H2, right, it's going to affect every other H2 I have in this document, and I actually want this style to get applied on only this H2. So that way I can just give it a class name or an ID. So with this class name, I can select this home underscore heading in my style tag. So since it's a class, we need dot operator, and then we say what home underscore heading, right? So first, I would like to give this another color, maybe green. So let's see. Okay, this good. So here we have it, and then I will resize it. So we have width property in CSS. I would like to give it. I'm going to reduce the size to 300 pixels. 300 pixels. Let's see what this looks like. Great. And then maybe increase the height. I'm going to increase the height. We have the height property as well. Don't worry, there is a special session where we are going to talk about sizing box, box sizing or the box model, where we look at width and height, how to use it properly. I mean, you don't just use, especially height, you can't just use height, especially if you are building a responsive website. You can't use height like this because it's going to be fixed across all devices. That's your screen size. So I'm going to give this height of 150 pixels. Okay, great. So next, now let's try the active pseudo class. So home underscore heading pseudo class active. Okay, pseudo class active. So what do we want? So maybe if we click So active means you have to click on the element, right? So if we click on this element, I would like to, okay, maybe we should give it the same width and height so that we can have a perfect circle. This, okay. So I would like to change the square. So right now, I guess we have a perfect square. Nice, we have a perfect square because the same width and height. So if the element is clicked on, we need a perfect circle, and to achieve that, we can basically have use our border radius. Don't worry, this is another property actually, which I'm going to introduce us to shortly. So I guess 100 pixels should do it, or 50%. So 50% will give us a perfect circle. Let's try it. Okay, so it's not working. What have we done wrong? Underscore heading border radius. Okay, let me comment this first, and then I will like to change the color, the background color to be yellow, just to figure out what is going on first. Or maybe I didn't refresh. Oh, I guess I didn't refresh that time. So let's bring it back. Border radius. Okay, nice. So you see, so now if I click, so my mouse is down right now. It has the square has actually changed to a perfect circle, basically. So if I release my mouse, it's back to the default state. So remember, pseudo class changes the state of an element. So the original state of this element is actually square, right? So with pseudo class, if I click on the element, it will change from a square to a circle. So this is a perfect example of what's it called, the active pseudo class. We also have focus. So focus is basically if you select a particular input field, right, you will likely want to change the style. So if an element or an input field is selected, I would like to change the border. So right now the border is black. I would like to change the border to another color. So, or not to overcomplicate things, I will just I will change the background color instead. So I can say input pseudo class focus, and then background color um gold. Save, refresh. So if I select this, so you can see, so this shows that this we give the user who is filling the form that, okay, the selected input field is what it needs to interact with at that point. Again, if I focus on this, you see the background color of the first input field has changed to the default because at that point it is not focused, right? So right now we have this focus email. If I go back to name, the background color has changed to gold. Again, email. So that's that for the focus. Do we have another one? We have a lot of them actually. We have a lot of pseudo class, but these are the most commonly used pseudo class that we have in the CSS. All right, so we have this nth-child. We have nth-child. We have first child, the last child. So let's see how we can use this ones. Okay, li. Let's see. I'm going to see li nth-child 2, and then I would like to change the color to red. Red. Save this, and then to the browser. I'm going to refresh. Okay, it's not working. Let's see what is going on. Okay, I need the parent elements basically. UL. Why is it not working? So UL. Okay, the parents, this should work. Oh, I have a typo here. Nth child. I already wrote out, I type out nth, missed out this child. Good, great. Save. Yeah, it works, but it only affects the bullet points. Okay, so what is going on? Okay, good. I understand what is going on right now. And that's because this is a link, actually, a tag, right? This is actually a tag. Let's look at our markup again. Let's look at the markup. You can see this is second element, and this li has this content as a. So we are not targeting the a. So that's why we cannot see the actual color. But then let's see if there's another list in our document. Great. So if we look at this document now, if you scroll down, then over 10,000 satisfied clients should be read. So let's see. Let's walk through our document. Great, we have it. Good. So the second li, okay, that we have in our document has a color of red. And then if you look at this as well, this is another list. So project management is set to red, right? So I'm going to comment this. I'm going to comment this so that we can look at other ones. Refresh, great. So if you want to select the or maybe the fourth one, right? Obviously you know what to do, right? You just have your nth-child and then you pass the number and say color maybe yellow. Save, refresh. So marketing strategy has changed from black to yellow. Again, I would like to add more list item. So li lorem 5. So I'm just going to copy this and paste a couple of times. Copy. I want us to see how we can use the odd and even. Okay, I think this is not a bad one. It's a great number list item here. Do we have another one here? Okay, great. Let's add one here as well. Save. Good. So let's see the output so far. Refresh. Great. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9, and I guess this should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. So now I will like to style the odd list item, okay, of this unordered list. So what I'm going to do is I will head back to my style and then comment this out. I believe you know how to do this already. Comment this out, refresh, great. So everything is back to default. So the odd list item, and to do that, child. So I'm going to pass odd, so odd, and then I will say back color. Actually, I mean you can set any style that you want. As for me, I want green. I would like to increase the font size to maybe 18 pixels. So let's see this and then refresh. So you can see all the odd what's it called? The odd list item has changed from black to green. So the first one, the third, the fifth, the seventh, and the ninth list item. Similarly on this list as well, because I mean this is a UL. So which means if you actually want this to get applied on only this list, I believe you know what to do. So all you need to do is to set your ID or class attribute on that particular element, especially the UL, and then you use the class attribute here or the ID selector instead of the type selector. So if you're using type selector, it means that it's going to affect all that the type of that element in your document. And that is why you see this list item is being affected at this point. So even similarly, you can have the same thing. I'm just going to copy this, dump it right here, and then change this even and kind of change the style to red. Then maybe this 22 and add another one, maybe font style, um, tally, save, and then refresh. So great. The second one, the fourth, the sixth, and then the eighth items, right? Similarly, a second, fourth, sixth, eighth, and the 10th list item get that style rules that we set in our declaration block. All right. So same thing for first and the last child. So what I'm going to do right now is okay, about, let's see, about ID about. So about is an ID. So we're going to use ID selector. So about first child, color, Doja blue, save. Then I'm going to refresh. What's going on? It's not changing. Let's see the first child here. Do we need a space, I guess? Great. But then it's selecting the first child of each element there. Let's look at the document carefully. So this is the section here. Okay. So section has just one child element, article, right? Now it's styled the first child, which is this oh sorry, this is about this O. So this is about. So it's styled about us, our mission, right? And then our mission as well for this heading or for this paragraph. And then quick fact. So the first child of each element, and of course, they founded in the 2010.